Alright, yeah, welcome back to some more Magic Arena, and today is Standard Brawl Day, because we don't have Historic Brawl, and until then we gotta play some Standard Brawl. Not that I don't like Standard Brawl, but I just prefer Historic. I don't know. Anyway, we're gonna be playing a commander that is probably suited to Historic Brawl a little bit more, but probably still mediocre nonetheless, and we're gonna be playing Mangara the Diplomat, one of the few commanders that I have ever built, where when I finished adding all the cards I wanted to it, it had 59 cards in it instead of 70. Yes, I actually had to add cards I didn't want into my deck just to fill this one out. It was an interesting thing. One of the cards I didn't want to add, by the way, is Ugin the Spirit Dragon, but we'll get to that probably 19 times throughout this entire video. 4 mana, 2/4, lifelink. Whenever an opponent attacks with creatures, if 2 or more of those creatures are attacking you, draw a card. Or a Planeswalker. Whenever an opponent casts their second spell each turn, draw a card. So basically what it's doing is it's punishing your opponent for doing what they want to do, aka prison, ? Because most of the prison cards are probably in Historic. We do kind of have a few odd tools here and there that we can actually exploit with this list that are still in Standard. Things like Deafening Silence and the brand new Archon of Emeria. Both of these essentially say you can't cast more than one thing each turn. This one specifically, Archon of Emeria, says you can't cast more than one spell each turn. And non-basic lands enter the battlefield tapped, which means fetch lands, like Fable Passage enters tapped, which is very nice, as well as any kind of the pathways are tapped as well, things of that nature, and any kind of utility lands like Crawling Barrens, Field of Ruin, Radiant Fountain, all going to be tapped lands. Can potentially get our opponent there when they're doing the math. Also, Deafening Silence, a similar kind of thing, except for this only punishes non-creature spells. To a certain extent, this is kind of symmetrical, because we do have a lot of non-creatures in this deck. We're not a creature-focused list, and in fact that's a good reason for us to be able to play things like Shatter the Sky and Realm Cloak Giant, as well as, I guess, Ugin as well, to a certain extent, to take care of our opponent's creatures, since they will be able to push those through. Most of our deck, though, is kind of removal pieces and things to take advantage of our opponent not doing very much. We've got like Skyclave Apparition as a very solid piece of removal, getting rid of a non-land token with 4 or less. If that includes our opponent's commander and they put it back in the command zone, then Skyclave Apparition's leaving the battlefield effect actually gives your opponent nothing, because it basically is no longer under there. It's a weird rule, but basically, whenever you use Skyclave Apparition, the card goes under the Apparition. If there's no card under Apparition, then the second ability does nothing. That's how you can look at it in the simplified term. We also have like Banishing Lights, which do a similar thing as well. If we hit our opponent's commander with this, they put them back in the command zone, and then there's nothing under the Banishing Light, which means, you know, an Ugin minus isn't that bad, or our opponent's rivaling ECD, getting rid of Banishing Light won't do anything. We can actually flicker it as well with our one of Flicker spell, Flicker of Fate. Can exile a creature or enchantment, then return it to the battlefield under its owner's control, so we can reapply our Banishing Lights or our Skyclave Apparitions if they do end up being kind of effective against our opponent. It's very useful as well if your opponent has removal for a certain thing, so they go to remove your creature and you might have an Archon or a Deafening Silence. In response to your opponent going to remove the thing, you flicker it out of play, and because they've played their spell for the turn, they can no longer respond to the Flicker of Fate, and then you get whatever that card would do all over again, which is really nice as a wonderful little blowout. But yeah, other notable things to talk about are Lithoform Engine. This is one of the few times that I will get some good use out of this one, no doubt, but it just seems like a very solid Brawl card nonetheless. 4 mana Legendary Artifact. You can pay 2 and tap it to copy an activated ability you control, 3 and tap it to copy an instant or sorcery you control, or 4 and tap it to copy a permanent and make a token of that permanent. So for example, if we played Baneslayer Angel, we could pay 4 on the Lithoform Engine to make 2 Baneslayer Angels, so 9 mana for 10 power, flying, first right, lifelink, protection from dragons and demons. I'm not actually sure the creature types really are relevant in Standard anymore, right? I'm pretty sure like all M19 and backwards were all the dragons and demons that actually exist. I'm sure there's a few that don't see play that are in Standard, but, you know, for the most part, I'm sure that's just mostly a nice vanilla creature with some good stats on it. But yeah, that's really all I'm going to go into this one. I think the deck should speak for itself as we play the games. Remember, this deck is not particularly good. I just kind of wanted to play a Mangara list, so that's what we're going to do today. Also, Ugin, the Spirit Dragon. Usually I have a no play this card kind of rule I set for myself, because I feel like this card should be banned, and if it should be banned, I probably shouldn't play it. But to be honest, I don't know if this Mangara list can really perform without it, so... You know, it's going to be one of those, and as I mentioned earlier on as well, I kind of ended the deck building process picking the cards I wanted to put into this list at 59 cards, so, you know, Ugin cutting that doesn't exactly make the deck any better in any way whatsoever. In fact, it might just cripple it altogether, so as much as I don't want to play Ugin, kind of have to play Ugin, but it's only the same as playing Teferi in Standard. As much as I wanted to get it banned, you're also going to get punished for not playing it. So, until this gets banned, I guess it has to be in this Mangara list, but that's a rant for another time. Ban Ugin. Alright, like and subscribe though if you do enjoy the content, and let's get to it. This video is brought to you by the generous support of our wonderful patrons and channel members that you see here. If you'd like to support the channel and get access to cool content like sneak peeks, bonus videos, polls on future content, or access to a personal deck critique from myself every month, then hit the join button down below, or check out the Patreon link in the description. With all that said, let's get into the gameplay. Okay, we're in for a game of Ranked Brawl. Yes, you heard it here, folks. Apparently, we're playing Ranked Brawl now. This hand seems just fine. I don't know what to say about this deck, to be honest, except for it seems fine. Our opponent's playing Grunk, Cursed Huntsman, 6 mana for a 5 loyalty Planeswalker. You can 0 it to make 2 wolf creature tokens. We're just going to go with Birth of Meletus. Thin out the deck with a nice Doge Plains. You can -3 to destroy a creature and draw a card, which is great. Perfectly answers our commander. And then the -6, which you can get by killing your wolves, gives a permanent overrun effect, +3/+3, and trample. We're just going to go land and pass. Next turn, hopefully, we play Mangara and it doesn't die immediately, but I'm not living in Magical Christmas Land, so I'm going to assume that's exactly what happens. Alright, there's Savvy Hunter. So this one gets food when it attacks or blocks. Okay. That's fine. Play Crawling Barons, and I guess we might as well play Mangara. I don't know. Lithoform Engine seems not too bad with Angelic Ascension. There's a Solemn. Okay, ramping up. They can do a free attack with the Savvy Hunter. They won't cause us to draw a card or anything like that, but they choose not to, which is fantastic. I'm guessing what that means is next turn they're just going to go with Grunk and minus on my Mangara. Is that your plan? If they were to do that, an Angel of Destiny is not a bad call. Could always just get it with a Faith's Fetters, though. Yeah, let's just play a Lithoform Engine. I think a Grunk in play with a Faith's Fetters that they can't remove is pretty decent. It'll be down to 2 loyalty at that point as well. I mean, maybe they don't do that. Maybe they go Wolves. Which I guess would also be okay. See where they choose to go. Looks like they are going to go for the minus, drawing a card. There goes Mangara. And then free attack. There we go. Alright. Free block. And we got ourselves a Plains. So this... It's going to cost us 8 for a Faith's Fetters copy, but that's fine. Alright, Faith's Fetters on Grunk. Gain 4 life. I guess we could have copied the Lithoform trigger, so we gained 8 life off of that, but I don't know if that's necessarily worth doing. Can hold open the Ascension, which might be better. If our opponent goes to kill Face Fetters, for example, then we can Ascension it in response so they don't get the activation. Or we can get rid of Vivian as well. It's hard to see a world where we don't just get absolutely outclassed by this kind of deck. Golgari seems quite powerful in the format right now. And free attack. Yeah, I'm just going to get rid of Vivian here, I think. Oh, actually, could I have... They ticked up. Oh, that's silly. I could have 4-4'd my own wall. Free blocked. Got in at Vivian because they made it vigilant. I just assumed they'd do it on reach, to be honest. But that was a silly assumption for me to make. And absolutely 100% incorrect. Could cost me the game. We'll see. I mean, I do have Ugin just to kind of just BS my way to a victory, but we'll see. So it's 4 to copy a permanent. So I can only do 3 drops, essentially, and make that happen. We could do a triggered ability with the Harmonious Archon, but we're missing 1 point of mana. Should we just do Angel of Destiny? Yeah, we'll just play Mangara again. Screw it. Let's get you out there. If we are going to Ugin minus, we're going to lose pretty much anything we play here anyway. I don't think there's a reason to simply not play anything. Because you want your opponent to do things like that. So now Ugin doesn't get immediately answered by a Murderous Rider. Grunk's Uprising. The punt gets worse. Because now they get to draw off of the 4-4 I gave them, which should be mine. Alright. And then we take a lot of damage. 4 more than we should have. So the main issue we kind of have right now... Actually, no, it's not really an issue, now that I think about it. I was just going to say, Ugin can minus, but if we don't... If we were minus, we'd kind of leave Ugin open, but we don't really need to get rid of Grunk here. We can just minus 3 and be okay. So let's just minus 3. Get rid of Grunk's Uprising, Savvy Hunter, and the tokens. Keeps Faith Fetters and Grunk in play, which is kind of what we want. So Savvy Hunter going to draw some cards off the food tokens, probably, to try and find an answer to the Ugin. Sweet. Alright. And now Ugin's not in range for Solemn to kill. So they just kind of need hard removal. And we can Lightning Bolt off pretty much either our opponent's face or that Murderous Rider they're thinking of playing. I don't know. I might be more inclined just to play something like Harmonious Archon. And then tick up on our opponent's face. Certainly don't care to kill the Simulacrum anyway. Not yet. So I think it's safe to say they don't have an Ugin answer. Ugh. Okay. Tis a 6/6. Nahiri's Binding is a thing. Alright, so bolt you.
Ghost
And then we will Harmonious Archon. And in response to the trigger, we'll copy it. There we go. Now that Cragplate Baloth isn't looking all that great because we got plenty of things to trade with it. And even if they manage to get rid of their Archon here, then we can... Okay, fair enough. 2. 1, 2. Seems good. Even if we manage to get rid of the Archon, we could chump block with our 4 tokens. So they do get to draw here, which kind of sucks. Ooh, I could do Angel of Destiny and copy it as an extra creature. Beginning of a life, if we have 50 more life, then I wonder if this actually, yeah, I was gonna copy this and I would get the extra trigger on the Angel of Destiny, so I had 2 copies, which meant that its effect would stack, I think. It's just kind of what I was figuring out. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, you and that player each gain that much life, which basically means this is 6, 12, and then another 8 there as well. So we gain quite a fair bit of life, and then we bolt our opponent as well. We get pretty close to the 15 or more life total, if not even a little bit more. Can't be asked doing the math, but, you know, it's roughly around there, I would say. And yeah, they kind of need a little bit more to answer the Angel of Destiny and the ever-increasing Ugin as well. Pretty sweet. Alright, I really didn't think we were going to win that one, and unfortunately, I think the reason why we did win that one is just because of this card that shouldn't be actually in Standard Brawl right now. But it is, and unfortunately this deck is not that great without it, I wouldn't say. So, you know, it's the monster that I have to tolerate. Anyway, next game. Okay then, on the draw against a Tulane deck, and we've got a Shatter the Sky, which is pretty decent to be honest, so I'm going to keep this one. We can also set up with a Charming Prince as well to get some better draws. So Tulane Teller of Tales is a 5-mana 2/4 with Vigilance. Whenever you cast a creature spell, you draw a card and then put a land from among them, from your hand, sorry, onto the battlefield. You can also pay 3 to bounce a creature back to the hand. So it's basically, the early game's going to be full of mana docks, usually. And then they use those to draw cards later down the line. It's not how they're actually going with it this time, but still. Let's go with the Scry. Luminarch Aspirant. We're going to Basri next turn. We want the 4th land. And if that means that I can avoid using the Undo Inversion as that land, then that would be ideal. So I think I'm just going to bottom both of these. Next turn, Basri Swing, probably. See if they got a 2-drop to play. They should do. Wow, they don't. Does that mean they got counter magic? There's only one way to find out. Didn't draw a land, by the way. Okay. So if they do have a flash creature that I'm not thinking of, it's definitely not going to be able to 4 my Basri. There is that Elf Fox, isn't there? Yeah, Fairy Vandal, not enough to cut it there. Llanowar Visionary. Alright, if we get a land, we get to tick up on Charming Prince, give it Indestructible, and then Shatter the Sky, which will let us draw a card and not our opponent.
Can we not find common ground?
Can we draw a good card? Alright, well, we got Glass Casket, I suppose, at the very least, so we can go ahead and get rid of... probably Fairy Vandal, since that has the opportunity to kill Basri. I think we're just going to have to go for the Undo Sky Ruins there. And swing for 4. Reason being that they might go for a Tulane next turn. If they go for a Tulane, they're not dealing damage to Basri. And then I can shatter, getting rid of their commander, drawing a card off my Charming Prince and getting in for 5. You would have ECD, though. That would definitely suck. Okay. So we could ramp with Solemn. We could play Mangara. Prevent our opponent from playing multiple spells each turn, which is pretty great, honestly, as cards go. I might go with Solemn so that Angel of Destiny is an option next turn. Also, we could trade with the Llanowar Visionary, as unlikely as that ends up being. Yeah, I mean, this is not the situation where we'd want to shatter the sky anyway, I don't think. Oh my god, really? Alright. That's pretty good. Got nothing coming back with the ECD unless I allow it. This is basically a free Skydiver block. I think that might mean that this is a Mangara turn then. And then we'll pass, just make the ECD fizzle. Okay, so if they play 2 spells, we draw a card. If they attack him with 2 or more creatures, we draw a card. If they answer Mangara, so be it. We can Angelic Ascension the Tulane as well. There's not a great deal they can do past that point. Alright, Signet we draw. Thank you, opponent. I am tempted to shatter up this board, though. It is quite shatterable. We swing in with Charming Prince, they just block with Solemn. Doesn't do us any different to just wiping the board here. They could even double block to stop us from drawing off a shatter. Faith's Fetters doesn't really do anything. It's the triggered ability of Tulane that we have to care about. The one thing I'm worried about is our opponent untapping into a Frilled Mystic, to be honest. So I think maybe we do have to go for a Shatter the Sky here. I guess for that reason I should have probably gone for the damage. So they get to draw a card off of my Solemn. Grumble, grumble. And I think I'm just going to play an Eidolon down here. I don't see myself hitting the Ascension on anything. Hushbringer. Let's see. 2, 3. Actually allows us to do Skyclave Relic into Kicked as well, into Angelic Ascension, so we'll do that. Infinite Mana. To avoid Frilled Mystic, we are just going to hit our opponent's Tulane at the cost of taking 4 damage. I think it's just much better to get that creature off the board than to potentially leave it there by our opponent having counter magic. Teferi's Tutelage, okay. So they're planning to mill me. Hopefully they don't hit anything too amazing. Those cards were really amazing. Probably some of the best cards in my deck. What a tilt. And Solemn Simulacrum. Perfect blocker for an Eidolon. I guess we have Hushbringer, so we can stop the death trigger. At the very least. Yeah, we'll do that. I'm going to imagine that they do have like Realm Cloak Giant in a deck like this, since it is a creature they can actually cast from the Adventure Zone. It is a board wipe, of course, which kind of goes against their deck structure, but it also has its advantages. Okay, so we are going to play Mangara, then we're going to go Arcane Signet into Hushbringer, and then swing for 2. I think that's the plan. Hushbringer, stop ETBs, and also stop death triggers. See if our opponent notices. They are reading the card. It's more than I usually do. Okay. So they'll want to deal with that before they block with Solemn. If they did have a Realm Cloak Giant here, we'd pretty much lose. These cards aren't enough to get back into the game, and we don't really have card advantage. Yep, there you go. Ugin the Spirit Dragon. Minuses for 4. Get some Fairy Vandal. We put Mangara back in the command zone. We do have a Faith Fetters for it at the very least. So we're just going to get that straight on that Ugin. And then we can play an Angel of Destiny, I suppose. Into Bertha Meletus. Thin out the deck. And make the land drop for the turn. So it's a Fairy Vandal blocker. Never mind. These haymakers are coming strong from our opponent. And an Uro. Yup. Another game decided by Ugin. It's almost like they all get decided by Ugin. Alright, can't really play Mangara. He just dies, so pass the turn. So we have an answer to Thorn Mammoth. Everything we do just dies. There's Tulane. Fights the wall. And we can Arden Veil, and we can block a little bit of damage. Might as well. We're not getting in through Tulane. Nor does it particularly matter. Well, there's an ECD. The main issue here is, again, Thorn Mammoth is kind of locking us out from playing permanents. So we'd want to get rid of that. However, they have Uro whenever they want with Tulane, so they get to draw 9 million cards and win that way. So for that reason, I want to get rid of Tulane. But Tulane can keep coming back as long as they feel like doing that, and it will die before that happens as well. So I really have no good answers. So I've kind of got to get rid of the damage dealer. I can get an Angel of Destiny back, a Solemn, a Charming Prince. I can play my Mangara as well. Perfect mana, look at that. Wow. But it's just not good enough. Another answer for my Mangara. At least it's only back to hand, at the very least. Bane Slayer Angel draws a card. Midnight Clock. And Ominous Seas. And it needs to be a good card or bust here. What is it? Not a good card, is what that is. Yep, just dead in the air. Fair enough. Next game. Okay, we're in, and we're up against Torbran, mono red. This actually kind of feels like it might be a good matchup. We've got lots of life gain and board wipes in our hands, so I'm gonna give this one a shot, actually. So Torbran, Thane of Red Fell, is a 4-mana 2/4. It's mono red, the commander. I'm gonna get rid of our Sky Ruins tapped so we can actually play the game of Magic. If a red source you control would deal damage to an opponent or a permanent an opponent controls, it deals that much damage plus 2 instead. So basically, smork, mono red, lull, you're dead. Okay, we're gonna go Bertha Meletus so that we can thin the deck and make sure we hit our land drops up to 4, because Shatter the Sky is gonna be really important here. Alternative is we could have gone with the Maze Mine Tome for a bit of scrying as well. Unsure as to whether or not that would be necessary, because, you know, we're not doing too bad here. We got Maze Mine Tome. We'll start working that one up for a bit of 4-point life gain. And then next turn we can even play down Mangara, which encourages our opponent to start attacking it. Did that just... Oh my god, that gives trample. Oh boy. Okay. Take a little bit of damage. And... I don't think we need to scry, really. We've got a fine hand as it is. The only reason I would scry is to make sure that we don't hit a plains there, but... Don't know if I care. Alright, so Mangara comes down. Means our opponent can't attack as aggressively, otherwise we draw more cards. It's also a 4 toughness creature, which for the most part means that they're going to have to do a little bit more work in order to kill it. Alright, so this is kind of great for us. This is dealing 4 points. And I can just gain the 2 here, because I'm going to shatter the sky anyway. To the command zone, yes. Get a stop on our opponent's end step. And let's do a little bit of scrying. Meh. I don't really care about you. The game is better when I don't need you. Felidar Retreat. That's not bad as a follow-up for sure. Yeah, I kind of think we go Felidar Retreat here, because I can just make some tokens and not care about Torbran for a little while. We're in 26, so... 26 with 2 blockers that I can just chump and again get our opponent playing more cards. They would have that one, but we have a Skyclave Apparition to stop them from completely profiting. Block there, block there. I think we just wipe the board anyway, right? Just give them, like, 4 1/1 tokens. Is that really a big deal? It's not really, is it? They do draw a card off of Anax, which is annoying, though. So maybe we could go Skyclave. Get rid of it, and then we can play a land drop, make a 2/2. That blocks as well. It's just delay, delay, delay tactics here. They'll get a 3-drop when I wipe the board. Not sure that particularly matters, though. As opposed to giving them all the tokens, they make a land and then Torbran does its thing. Yeah, we'll go Skyclave, we'll get rid of Anax. We'll draw a card with Maze Mine Tome. And make it 2/2. Yeah, this honestly... It honestly feels like a great matchup for us. We've got just so many ways of... Oh, you love to see it. So many ways of just punishing them for constantly pressuring like this, and we can block it all day as it currently stands. Alright, well, they got another 4/4 to draw a card. It's just block for damage. Doesn't matter where we block. Draw, Banishing Light. Could hit the Bone Crusher to stop them drawing cards. 1 card, though. The cost of a Banishing Light just doesn't seem necessary. So, let's Shatter. I can always get, like, Ferocity of the Wilds next. Or if they replay Torbran as their only play next turn, then we can Banishing Light that instead. Let's make a 2/2. Plan on drawing with Maze Mine Tome. We're almost at the 4 life gain as well, so we're a virtual 18. There's Torbran, that's their entire turn, and we can Banishing Light that instead. Another land drops. Not fine, not too bad. Yeah, I mean, let's do it. Let's go Banishing Light, take care of Torbran. He's not getting cast anytime soon. From there, we have options. I think we're going to go Hushbringer, Eidolon of Obstruction, land, and then counter. This way we've got a Hushbringer gaining us loads of life that requires a pretty decent answer to take care of. Yeah. And then an insane amount of life coming off the Angel of Destiny if they don't kill anything. We honestly would love a land drop at that point as well, because we just make very large creatures that gain too much life. This thing being a 2/6 is unbelievably difficult for our opponent to deal with, so yeah, that seems like one of our good matchups. If Torbran is everywhere, play this Mangara deck, otherwise probably don't. Probably don't bother, but we'll see. I think we've got time for one more game. Alrighty then, we're in, and we've got a perfect hand, nicely curved for our opponent's Questing Beast. You didn't know this thing was a legendary creature, right? Just called Questing Beast, not Greg the Questing Beast, which is normally what a legendary creature would be. Just Questing Beast. I won't actually bore you with the details of this particular card, because it's longer than Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, but there it is. Green Commander does stuff. We've got hands that prevent that green commander from doing all the things. Well, at least more than once anyway. Let's go with a Maze Mind Tome, I suppose. Doesn't make any sense really to do anything else. Now, I do wonder whether or not we should go for the Scry. Just going to go for a Mana Dork, and he's a 3-drop, so if our opponent's missing lands, which is what Rosethorn Acolyte kind of suggests to me. Although, why would you... Actually, no. Never mind. Yeah, let's Scry. I'm going to Glass Casket the Acolyte anyway. Well, that's the thing. It's not exactly good against our opponent's commander, because one of the many lines of text is that this doesn't work. But we do have an Apparition to get rid of it. So, Rosefawn, Acolyte, get out of here. Green ramp. Not for you. Looks like they drew their land. Yes, they did. Would you look at that? Alright, so QB comes down. I'll take the damage. I won't do any more scrying, because we've kind of already got what we need in hand anyway. Skyclave Apparition for Questing Beast. Let's take care of that. I'd like a way to flicker the Apparition. That would be quite tasty. Fun fact, our opponent has put the card from underneath Apparition into the command zone, which means if Apparition dies, they get nothing. Ain't that cool? Alright, that is a Renata. Swift responsing that would be tasty. What do we want to do here? I think we want to go Solemn. Reason being is it sets up Harmonious Archon for the following turn. It's also a pretty decent blocker anyway. Whoa, 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 down there, Nessie. No. Whoa. Calm it. Territorial Scythe Cat. All the lands. All the big boys. Good job this is not a Shout of the Sky, otherwise our opponent would benefit from it. As it stands, they do not. It would be nice actually to, I think, just get a land drop for the turn. Thanks. That means I can draw and I can kind of wipe the board here as well. More lands, calm it. Calm down. I kind of want to just play Mangara, though. To be completely honest. I don't know. Next turn they can play Questing Beast if they top deck a land. Guess I'll get in for my 2 here. They're just going to block the Apparition, everyone knows it. But at least this way I get to draw a card. From the 2 damage I was going to lose anyway. Mecha Godzilla. Yeah, I'm trying to weigh up whether or not it's worth just to cast off here. Nothing has a death trigger. Except for Skyclave, and nothing happens when Skyclave dies, so that's kind of cute. Yeah, let's do that. Let's just wipe this board. Proof is in the pudding. There's nothing there. Alright, so if they get the land, they get the questing beast. But then we can turn it into a 3-3 and make 3-3s. Ooh, it really goes horribly wrong with Nessie and Hornbeetle does this Harmonious Archon. That's very nice. Love to see that. I think we're just going to go with Mangara here. We'll play Radiant Fountain, I suppose. I can just sense the tapper's going to screw me, but since I know the tapper might screw me, then we'll just go like this. All right, so there's Kogla. Fights Mangara. Let's draw, and I want to see if I get maybe a Flicker of Fate there, which I didn't. Back to the command zone with you. Boop. The annoying thing is they get a Rose Thorn Acolyte, or they get to attack my Maze Mine Tome on the Kogler attack. The Maze Mine Tome's less of a thing, because I can just play the Archon, turn everything into a 3-3, then trade one of my tokens, and draw a card with Maze Mine Tome. So that's not the worst. I think that's the plan. We could play Mechagodzilla, so we have that combat trigger. And then we can scry if they try to take care of the Maze Mine Tome. Scrying, drawing, they're not exactly the same, but they're pretty close. Could even get a counter here on the Mechagodzilla, which would... Oh! Make our opponent have a bad attack. Isn't that lovely? They could just mutate it, though. They could just mutate it and give it reach and counters. That's the thing they could do, I suppose. Now it's a 5-5. But again, I still get my value. I can just double block with my tokens. Gonna take it. Alright, so we're gonna go after my Mechagodzilla. Suppose that was a thing. Didn't consider that. I was kind of only looking at these two as options, but that's fine. We'll just double block here. Big Boy Tribal just becomes 3-3 Tribal. And we take the day. Alright. Yeah, I mean, as far as, like, green commanders go, Questing Beasts, it has its appeal, but it's not really one of them. You kind of want to just do, like, Vivian, Monster's Advocate, or something like that. I'm sure there's even better, like, green commanders. Let's have a look, shall we? Green commanders. Questing Beast is just kind of like the Uro of Simic. Like, even in old Brawl, when you had, like, the full card pool, it just didn't make sense, really, to play Uro. It just was pretty underwhelming. Yeah, you could do something like a Shire. I almost feel like a Shire is pretty solid as a ramp commander. Nylea could be pretty cool as well. But yeah, I think it's like Vivian, Monster's Advocate you really want as your commander, if anything. You do Creature Tribal, then you can do the -2 and play off the top of your library. But then again, like, when it comes to Brawl these days, or at least in Standard Brawl, monocolored commanders just aren't really a thing. I think maybe Jor-El might be one of the few monocolored commanders that's worth playing on its own. I'm even saying that as a person who's just played Mangara. I'm just looking through, actually. Thassa's fine. Thassa only in previous Standard Brawl won by drawing Agent of Treachery, and then it kind of fizzled and flailed. Other than that, it's about as good as Mangara in terms of commander power. I suppose you could do a blue control with Gadwick, but blue control has no way of dealing with permanents once they hit the field. Black has... yeah, not that much. Obviously, I guess mono red Torbran. That's the way to go. Other than that, probably not. And yeah, other than that, you just go straight into your multicolors. And that's the way to be. But yeah, anyway, that's going to do it for today's video. I'm done rambling. Hopefully you've enjoyed this deck. This one, I wouldn't recommend building it. I don't think it's as good. It's pretty interesting. It's got its own little play style, but as I've just hopefully explained, monocolored commanders just aren't really worth it, especially something like Mangara, which is kind of very, niche in its play style. A lot of the cards that make Mangara good are kind of in historic Brawl, which, Wizards, please. The people want historic Brawl. Just give us historic Brawl. Just make it like the historic queue, just like the play queue. Just do that. Just click Brawl, and if you put a historic card in it, it becomes historic on the queue. It's easy. It's easy. Just do it. I know it's not that easy, but it's easy. Anyway, like and subscribe. I'm done ranting. Take care. Have a good day.